Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today I'll be kind of giving an update to yesterday's video where we talked about, the blaming of video games in today's society for the unfortunate events that have taken place here in the United States. Primarily though, I'm going to be talking about the whole Walmart situation because a lot has taken place since I put that video out, and I feel like it's important to talk about because, it's insane how far it's gone. Some misinformation has gone out there, I guess. Walmart themselves are kind of at fault for that because they're not being very open about what's going on at the same time. There's just, I don't know, it seems like an online hate mob against them right now, which honestly is kind of deserved because of the way that they've been acting about this whole thing, but I don't think Walmart really has any reason to act surprised that this would happen. I mean, when something like this happens, and I think you guys understand what I'm talking about when I say something like this happens, as in the unfortunate events that have taken place in the United States recently, and Walmart's first response is to pull violent video game displays and to just basically respond by targeting violent video games and the displays and things like that in their stores instead of actually doing anything that would actually combat the problem, like, removing the sale of guns in their stores, which I'm not trying to blame guns necessarily for the problem because, I understand that it's not the gun itself that is 100% to blame for these problems, but at the same time, a gun is infinitely more useful in these tragic events than a video game is. So you would think if Walmart really was actually trying to, combat the issue, the first thing they would target is their sale of weapons and stuff like that. But that's something I talked about in yesterday's video. And since that video, there was a major headline that came out. This was reported on by IGN primarily that I saw, and that it was basically that Walmart, on top of removing all their violent video game displays and the advertisements and stuff in the store, which everyone basically thought was ridiculous enough because clearly video game violence and stuff in these advertisements are not the cause of these problems in our society. You thought that was ridiculous enough, but IGN was reporting that Walmart was actually going to enact a ban on violent games being sold in Walmarts across the country altogether, which once again would be another example of Walmart blaming video games for a problem that time and time again video games have been proven to not be correlated with in any way whatsoever. Now, of course, once this information really started hitting the headlines and stuff, a hashtag really blew up and it trended. And this was hashtag Boycott Walmart. People were already furious because they were pulling violent game displays. People were already furious because they had blamed video games essentially in the first place, or people were perceiving that they were blaming video games in the first place. But once this information really was coming out that violent video games were being removed from the store shelves in Walmarts, or at least that was even a prospect, and that they were still going to be selling guns and things like that, people were just straight up talking about boycotting Walmart. Now, I do want to reiterate that there has been an update to that story. IGN has come out and said that a Walmart spokesperson has reiterated that they will not be removing violent video games from the shelves of Walmart stores. They will continue to sell these games. Now, I don't know if this was a last-minute decision and that they were... I don't know, because I think maybe they were planning on removing violent games from the shelves, and then maybe they considered this last-minute decision to keep them all on the shelves just because possibly all the backlash they were getting. I think that's a possibility. Maybe it's improbable, but I do think it is a possibility. You never really know. With that being said, people have been asking, or I guess really saying, oh, LMFAO, bro, who really still buys video games from Walmart? And I think that that's really a naive thing to say because, yes, it is true that most people these days are buying their games digitally, which, that's the way of the future. Physical retailers for games like GameStop have been going under recently, and physical game sales over the last few years have definitely been declining at a very rapid pace. But for a huge percentage of the population in the United States, Walmart is the biggest, brick and mortar retailer that you can go to. Walmarts are literally everywhere, and they pretty much all have electronics in them, which means that pretty much every Walmart is selling video games. And since they're pretty much the only real brick and mortar retailer competing in a lot of these areas, when you put it that way, people who want to buy physical copies of games, a lot of the times the only place they really have an option to do so really is a Walmart. And of course, GameStop is still in a lot of major areas, but realistically, if you live in a rural area, I mean, the only place you have to shop that sells video games for like 25, 50 miles might really be a Walmart. So yeah, if you live in like a major city, or if you even live in like a small city or an area that's close to a metro area or something, yeah, you probably have a GameStop or two, maybe three, and a Walmart, or, you know, a couple places to go really to shop for physical games. But that really isn't the case for everybody. So yeah, Walmart doing something like this, if they really did pull violent games off the shelves or mature rated games off the shelves, this really would damage the consumer choice for millions of gamers in the country when it comes to their physical choices. Which is really a ridiculous thing, because you would think that since these are mature rated games, and yeah, they do have violence and whatnot in them, you'd think that people would be able to, you know, look at that, and since, you know, the ESRB is a thing, and since, you know, they rate these games, you know, M for mature, you have to be 18 to buy them, you would think that people would be able to make the decision, hey, there's violence in this game, maybe my kid shouldn't play this, or maybe I shouldn't play this, but, you know, we live in that society where you can't make that decision for yourself anymore, and apparently Walmart was on the verge of making that decision for you. I'm not sure, I don't know, and the thing is Walmart isn't necessarily being too open with how close this was to being real. Now, like I said, they're saying they're still going to sell violent and mature rated games. They aren't making any changes to their gun sales policy. They've been pressured to do so, even from employees. They've been pressured from politicians, from activists and whatnot. They're not going to do that either, which, I mean, that's their choice. That's their choice. If they don't want to do that, I guess not. But the reasoning that they gave for all this, for, you know, taking down these violent video game advertisements and almost literally getting rid of violent video games out of their stores, was because they wanted to be sensitive to the tragedies going on in society, and they've taken this action out of respect for the incidents of the past week. And I keep seeing this same exact excuse used by all of these different people who keep doing these things. Like ESPN basically said the exact copy and paste thing when they took down their Apex Legends Invitational highlights that were going to be airing on ESPN2. Personally speaking, I think if you really want to show respect for the incidents of the past week, maybe the most respect you can show for those incidents is to not, you know, pull violent video game advertisements out of Walmarts and indicate that you put more fault and blame onto those than you do the literal cabinet of guns inside of the store for the, you know, mass shootings going on in the country, considering that guns are used in every mass shooting, video games have been used in literally 0 of them. Personally, I think that's the most respectful thing that you can do. If you disagree with me, I mean, I guess we can agree to disagree on that one, but realistically, like a lot of other people, I just think it's another non-answer. It's another non-solution. Like pretty much everybody else, Walmart's really just deflecting this whole thing off once again. And the thing is I don't know how far this is going, because we saw the 2 different posts yesterday. It was the same thing, but it was in 2 different stores. Like one was printed out, one was digital, telling them the procedure of taking down all these things. And the problem is we don't know how far that this is actually reaching, because once again, Walmart is not being open about this. And I think that if Walmart really wants to stop people from being mad at them, maybe just be open and tell everybody what you're planning. If you're gonna stop selling violent video games, tell everybody, hey, we're gonna stop selling violent video games because we think that this is what. You know, just say it. Just own it. That way people can make the decision to stop shopping at your stores because you're too stupid to understand basic science. Stop giving these generic cutout answers that don't really tell anybody your intentions. Or, you know, if this is a national thing where you're taking all of these advertisements down and all of these demos of these violent games down, just tell everybody how far this is extended, because, you know, at first we thought it was only maybe like 1 or 2 stores, maybe in the affected areas, but no. I mean, I keep seeing conflicting reports. Some people are saying it's only in these areas to kind of help with the grieving employees, but then the Associated Press is reporting that this is a national order from Walmart themselves that will affect stores nationwide. So, I mean, what are we supposed to believe here? Once again, this whole thing can be remediated simply by Walmart just coming out and saying, hey, this is what we're planning to do, this is how we're gonna do it, this is why we're doing it, this is what we believe, this is our intentions. But hey, we can't get them to do that. So if Walmart really wants to sit around and wonder and just sits there and thinks, hey, you know, why are people mad at us? I mean, this is exactly why. And the whole time that this whole thing is going on, there's probably, unfortunately, more of these just tragic events being planned by some psychopath out there. And no real solution to the issue is really coming forward, because this whole time, our politicians are too busy sitting around trying to blame video games for causing this. We have politicians. There was a representative here from Ohio. I live near Dayton, where unfortunately one of the most recent big shootings happened. One of the representatives from our local area blamed, quote unquote, the societal breakdown of the average American family. Somebody blamed the recreational use of marijuana. Several politicians have blamed violent video games and violent media, which of course has been going on for decades at this point. But like I said, man, we're just sitting at this point where Walmart is basically joining forces with these politicians and they're doing nothing. At this point, Walmart might as well have said nothing and done nothing, because they're causing more harm to their brand doing this. They've caused a national trend to boycott their stores because of what they've done. And in reality, I can't necessarily blame anybody for wanting to do so. I've been trying to tell people why Walmart sucks for a long time. I made a video a while back about why Walmart sucked. Walmart was always just, it wasn't a great place to shop. I'm gonna be really honest with you. I don't generally buy video games from Walmart. If I have to buy a physical game, if I have to, I try to buy it from a local store if they're selling it. If I have to go to a major retailer, I usually go to a GameStop. Walmart is pretty much my last resort if I have to go to a place like this. And at this point, Walmart is my last resort for literally anything. And unlike most people, it's not because they're pulling violent video game displays, it's because of all the other things. It's just how bad of a store it is. But, I mean, this is the icing on the cake. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video, you guys. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on my channel. Follow me over on Twitter at @SubToOptimus. I post memes, thoughts, and updates. Surefire way to get notifications of all my newest content. Join the Discord down below. Lots of great things going on down there as well. Thank you to my channel members. Your support helps my channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus. I guess not going to Walmart, and signing out.